This strategy makes Townhall 15 easier than ever before. This army was first seen being used at the World Championship last week and is way stronger than you might think. In this video we will take a look at how the pros use it, and then I'll show you how you can use it in your attacks as well. However, before we start with the video, if you're buying anything in-game, make sure that you're using a creator code. If you want to support this channel, it would be creator code RHBB. Thank you very much, and let's continue with the video. And here we have this attack from Pang from Sup B.L.T.X in the lower bracket final in the World Championship. As you can see, he's sniping off the Townhall with a few sneakies. Well, not just a few, with I believe he had 27s or so. And a haste. The Townhall is relatively far inside the base, yet he is still able to snipe it with enough sneakies. And it doesn't matter if you just bring 20 sneakies or 26 sneakies or perhaps even 30 sneakies, the attack strategy will still work. You're looking for any bases that don't have any close walls in front of the Townhall, or just not many close walls in general, because, well, if you're bringing sneaky goblins together with super barbarians, you of course do not have any more bases or super wall breakers. And then after the Townhall is gone, you go straight into the Townhall compartment after the Townhall poison is gone, and to tank with a few skeleton spells, with 1 or 2. It's very important not to use too many skeleton spells at the beginning of the attack, and also not too less, because you need the tanking at the beginning, but you also need the tanking at the back end for example, for your royal champion. And now use your vulnerability when you encounter a lot of damage. Most of the times it's best to first use the king ability and then combine the king ability together with the vulnerability, which Pang did not do in this case. But well, he probably knows better than I do. And then RC for the backhand, you still have a ton of spells, 2 free spells, 1 invis spell. And just use it for your troops so they don't fade out. Use the backhand skeleton spells to tank for your RC, tank for your queen, for example when there's a monolith, when there are a few scatter shots or single inferno towers. It works out very, very nicely. You have to watch out though that you don't put your skeleton spells inside of the range of any multi-inferno towers, because they will just melt through your skeletons. But still, we have a very, very nice triple here from Pang. Very nicely done. Now that we have seen how the pros use it, we will take a look at how you can use it as well. We have a relatively similar box base, just the Townhall is relatively far outside, so I didn't need to use the haste spell. I could just snipe at the Townhall without any haste spells with a few sneakies. You actually just need 6 sneakies for the Townhall. Always put a test sneaky goblin in front to test if there are any traps, and if not, then send in 6 sneaky goblins, use the invis spell, watch out that you don't make the Townhall invisible, and then the Townhall is just easily gone. Now I just use the rest of the sneakies to funnel out the elixir storages as well as the few elixir collectors, and now I was just able to send in the rest of my troops into the Townhall compartment. Had 1 skeleton spell to tank. You actually do not need too many skeleton spells, you can bring whatever you want. I just had 1 skeleton spell in this attack and then a second rage spell instead of more skeleton spells, for example 4 or 5. And as well, I didn't have a golem, but rather many more super barbarians. I will use the king ability in a bit, and then use the vulnerability simultaneously to get through all the damage. Exactly like so. Now use the vulnerability to protect all the small barbarians, and use the rage spell on all those barbarians as well as on my queen. And now the rest of the troops will just easily power through the rest of the base, and I can use the rest of my super barbarians as well as my royal champion to clear out the rest of the base. It's very, very important that you use all of your super barbarians as well as your skeleton spells to just tank for the RC. If the RC gets targeted by any ground expose, or for example a monolith, it's over. Your attack is instantly over. So it's very important that the monolith is tanked at every single time. And then Diggy will just stun it, and the RC has no problem at all taking it out. And look how many spells I still have left. Of course, I still have a poison spell, which I could have used for a CC, which was not on this base, unfortunately. But as you can see, if the enemy did have a CC, the attack would probably still have worked out very, very nicely on this already maxed out base. But the strategy does not only work on box bases, it also works very, very nicely on diamond bases. Here, unfortunately, the Townhall compartment was closed off, but I brought a few wall breakers to open it up. Just so you know, this strategy is not very good for Legends League, since the army is not very flexible. You have to bring certain amounts of sneakies, you have to bring certain amount of wall breakers and adapt that to each base. So it's a strategy that is mainly for clan wars, and for clan wars it's extremely strong. If you're looking for a strategy for Legends League, however, then click on the eye above. I already covered a very, very nice strategy for Legends League a few weeks ago. Now, as you can see, together with the haste spell, I was able to send in the sneaky goblins relatively far inside the base very, very quickly. And now I send in the flame flinger from the right side. You don't always have to use barracks, you can also use the flame flinger whenever you get a ton of value. Probably a barracks would have been better on this base, since the flame flinger does not get too much value. And as you can see, only just one skeleton spell at the beginning. I did not use any skeleton spells in front of the multi-inferno tower, but now rather use them to tank the scatter shots as well as the monolith. Now King walks inside, can use the King ability in a bit, and then the Warden ability straight afterwards, and then the core will just be instantly get gutted. Now sending the rest of the super barbarians as well as the skeleton spells to tank for your royal champion and to take out the enemy king together with your headhunters relatively easily. And as you can see, this base is already pretty much gone. Of course, it's not too well upgraded, but on a maxed out base this would have worked as well. Since, well, I pretty much swagged my clan castle. If I just used the barracks, I would have had even more power. I would have had the clan castle troops way quicker, but still, this is an absolute overkill, you can see, and very, very nicely done. And this is exactly how you can also use this attack strategy on a diamond base. On ring bases, for example, this attack strategy does not work, because the Townhall is just, well, you cannot reach it with any sneakies. So take some quick notes, the Townhall compartment needs to be open. You have to be able to take it out with less than 30 sneaky goblins and a haste spell, and then you should be more than good to go. And of course also watch out for open walls, because you have to get inside of the base relatively easily without any wall breakers, since you don't have any. And here we also have a replay on a anti-3-star base. Of course, this base looks a little weird. I have no idea what he's doing with his walls over here. But still, if we just rule that out and just think that it's normal, and the Townhall compartment is closed at the backside, then it's a relatively normal looking base, I would say. Again, few hasted sneakies to snipe off the Townhall. I would have actually expected that my sneakies would now go towards the Townhall, but they rather go to the elixir stores. So therefore, very nice I had the haste spell there, so the sneaky goblins can get there a little quicker. Now I only had 6 sneaky goblins left, so I just had to send them in. I sadly did not have any more sneaky goblins to test, but still, Townhall went down. There fortunately weren't any traps, and now just the rest of the troops in from the scatter shot compartment. I would have loved to open it up here, sadly didn't happen, but still it worked out relatively nicely in the end. Use skeleton spells to tank here the monolith, the single inferno, as well as the enemy queen and the scatter shot. And now the troops path themselves easily into the base. Queen walks around fortunately and goes towards the king, so I have a very nice main push here. Now jump spell to open up the multi-inferno tower as well as the scattershot compartment, warden ability together with the king ability, and I had a lot of value here on the left side. For the flame flinger, for example, I can get the scattershot, I can get the multi-inferno tower. There are not any mortars here, well there was one mortar, and I could just easily take it out with my super barbarians. And now there is not much of the base left. Still have 2 free spells. Still have 1 invis spell. And of course I use the rest of these barbarians to tank for the expos. So my RC does not take too much damage. Of course I can freeze it up again. Miss the expo actually, so that was quite unfortunate. But still, I have enough troops left to tank. Of course I still have the troops in my flame flinger. So it got relatively close in the end. But it did work out. That's what matters. RC snipes out the last cannon. Dig is already down. And now the multi-inferno tower goes down. Unicorn still comes in clutch right here. Heals up the super barbarians. And then not many troops left, but still a triple in the end. And this is exactly how you can also hit anti-3-star bases. And then I'd say, thank you guys very, very much for watching. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below. And if you want to prepare for the upcoming update and need any fresh bases for Townhall 16, then join our Discord server or look on our website. We will have them covered instantly after the update goes live. And then you can purchase some very, very nice Townhall 16 bases there, so you're prepared for Townhall 16 as well. If you like this video, feel free to leave a subscription to not miss any upcoming videos. And then I'd say, see you guys next week, have fun, and bye bye.